Alright, bud, take a nice big deep breath there. Get your seatbelt untouched. Take a breath, focus. We're going to play the game today. Tonight, the stars and the cars of the DRTV Premier Cup Series take on the Richmond International Raceway for the Salute to the Heroes 160. So grab your favorite beverage and a snack and strap yourself in because you're in for a wild ride. Next, live on the DRL Network.
And we welcome you to DRL Network live coverage of the Salute to Heroes 160, a very special event being done here tonight at the Richmond International Raceway, race number 26 for the DRTV Premier Cup Series. And we're thrilled to have you here live, flag to flag, wall to wall, here on DRTV. Thank you out there, everybody in YouTube land, for watching us tonight. My name is Phil Lacasse, along with my broadcast partners, Too Tall Todd Stanton, Mr. TV Time Rich Patton, as always, in the DRTV control booth. And Todd, what better way do we salute this weekend here? The Salute to Heroes 160. We pay homage to all our military, all our heroes, first responders, everybody out there that serves, protects, and takes good care of this country. You know, what better way to honor them as we celebrate this weekend in their honor, and a great field of cars we have here tonight. I think we're going to be one spectacular race here tonight at Richmond.
Yeah, definitely going to be one spectacular race here at Richmond. I know the live NASCAR race is going on right now, but I thank everybody out there watching here live. We got Richmond International here with us live on DRTV. It's going to be a great race here. You can watch both of them, you know, simulcast them here on your computer, and you can actually put the other race on there, but you really want to pay attention to what's going on here in DRTV. The scramble's coming up real quick, Phil.
Yeah, that scramble, as you said, we got 5 more chances before we get through that 30th race cutoff. When we get to race 31 at Kansas, that'll be how we crown our championship here. So much will update here through the point standings and all the criteria that will lock these drivers into the path to Premier Scramble here in a couple of weeks. But Rich Patton, we have 5 more weeks before we get to the Scramble. You know, we'll have all that coverage here live on DRTV, but we focus here at Richmond tonight. This Salute to Heroes 140 here for a great cause as we salute all our heroes out here on DRTV.
Yeah, definitely hats off to all the armed forces, everybody out there, the soldiers, the heroes, you name it. We're proud that they're doing what they're doing and keeping our freedoms the way they are. And this is a big event for TDR and DRTV Premier Cup Series, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. This is a fun, fast little track. We've got a bunch of great drivers out here tonight. Richmond International Raceway, 3/4 mile D-shaped oval. We're running 160 laps tonight. Realistic damage, 2x tire wear. Pit window appears to be between 60 and 65 laps. Pit road speed is going to be 45 mile an hour. I can't wait to get the green flag underway here.
No, we cannot wait to see how this race is going to transpond. 160 laps around this action track. 3/4 mile Richmond International Raceway. And No, Todd, I've been out here watching practice for about an hour and a half. These guys putting down some thunderous fast speeds. All the fast guys, sub 22 seconds here. Even guys at 20-second times here in qualifying. These guys absolutely hauling the mail tonight at Richmond.
Definitely all these guys really, really quick here this evening. Derek Justice, Tom Salvain, Blake McCandless, Robert Balcom, Gary Piccolo, Martin Karch, Isaac Johnson, Ryan Johnson, Chris Harder-Felix. These guys all here tonight. There's other guys here also that did not take time. Phil, some of these guys mired in the back of the pack. Looks like they're going to wait, hold off and wait in the waiting pattern kind of. It did not take some times here. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen here tonight. Definitely the fastest guy in qualifying and in happy hour was that 31 of Derek Justice.
He's been blistering the field all night long here at practice and putting up tremendous time. 20.783 in qualifying, putting him on the pole. His 8th pole in 2016. He's had 21 starts here out of the 25 races. He's got 7 victories, 11 top 5s, 14 top 10 finishes in 21 starts. So Derek Justice with a thunderous season here, a 26-point lead over second place Ryan Johnson. Alex Davis currently third in the standings. Ken Hansen, Craig Meyer, those guys make up the top 5. And as you said, Todd, that scramble, 5 weeks from now, we get to Kansas. We lock these guys in. The scramble criteria, real simple. All race winners that are locked in through the top 20 in points. If these guys have won a race, they maintain their stead in the top 20 in the point standings. They punch their ticket into the scramble, as do the top 3 drivers in the point standings overall who have not won a race here in 2016. So you got the likes of Ryan Johnson, currently second in the point standings, but he's winless. Also Ken Hansen, 4th in the standings, also winless. In the high side hustler, Martin Karch, he comes in 6th in the overall standings. Hard to believe those 3 guys all winless on the season, but as of right now, Todd, those guys would also qualify for the scramble here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and some of them other guys on the outside looking in, trying to make their way into that scramble, hoping one of those guys that are 2nd, 4th, and 6th in points, they want one of those guys to get a win so they can get in on one of those points opportunities, or maybe they get a win themselves. But I know there's quite a few guys out there, Phil, that are inside that top 20 that want to get into that scramble.
Oh, absolutely. You see guys just on the very edge of the top 20 there. Kelly Horner, a 2-time winner this season. 20th in the point standings. He is gripping on to dear life with 4 markers better on Jeremy Jeffries, and Jerry Walters right there as well, munching it with top 20. So Kelly Horner, within the next couple of weeks, he's going to have to do what he can to stay in that top 20 if he wants to make the scramble. But you look up ahead, guys like Steve Looney, Scott Schroyer, those guys all feature winners this year. Also, Mauricio Bedoya, you haven't seen him in a few weeks, but in 12 starts this season, Mauricio was a 2-time winner. Those guys may all be scramble eligible when we get to Kansas here 5 weeks from tonight here live on DRTV. But Todd Stanton, this thing's about to get over into the race portion, 160 laps to salute the Heroes 160. So let's just dive straight into the starting lineup.
And now your starting lineup for the Salute to the Heroes 160 live from the Richmond International Speedway. Starting on the pole, driving the number 31 is the Derek Justice, DJ I call him, the number 31, that's Derek Justice starting on the pole. His dancing partner to the outside, driving the number 2, starting in that 2nd starting position, that's Tom Salvain.
Rolling off tonight from position number 3 will be the driver of the 02. That is Blake McCandless, and to his outside in that Apple Collision Center, number 18, that's Robert Balcom.
Driver call going down to get drivers to enter their cars and get ready to go racing here. Starting in that 5th starting position, the driver of the number 22, that's Gary Piccolo. And his dance partner to the outside is the high side hustler, that's Martin Korch aboard the number 92.
Rolling off from row number 4 tonight, father and son duo in the number 72, we find Isaac Johnson. Isaac, a 2-time winner this season in the Premier Cup Series. And to his outside in the 59, that's father Ryan Johnson.
Starting that 9th starting position, driving the 112, that's Chris Harder-Felix, and outside of him, driving the 028 in that 10th starting position, that's Monte Keller.
Rolling off of 11th tonight from California, the 103, that is Carson Krenz. And to his outside in the 69, the Flying Fossil, the Ageless one, that's Keith Patton.
Starting in that 13th starting position, that is Fast Eddie Lee. Ed Stancliffe aboard the number 210, and outside of him is the Bobby Farrell, driving the number 43. To start their entry.
Engines have come to life. We get through row number 815 starter tonight aboard that Safer Barrier Project number 70. That is Jason Skaraki, J-Rock as we know him here in the community. And to his outside, we welcome back to the Premier Cup Series in the number 57 from Insomniac Motorsports, that's Jesse Klein.
Next row back, starting in the 17th starting position, that's the 109, that's Ken Hansen. And outside of him is, I believe, I'm not sure if the 14 is going to be out there tonight, Phil. That would be Mike Ross, but nope, he's definitely not going to be out there. So I believe 17 cars going to take to the grid here is Ken Hansen. Will be your last starter here with that 109.
Yep, 17 drivers will take the green flag here at Richmond International Raceway. The DRTV Pace Fan for the first time tonight going to make its left-hand turn to pit road. 160 circuits around the three-quarter mile Richmond International Raceway. The Salute to Heroes 160, Todd. It's green flag.
Yeah, loud pedals down and racing down into the corner, taking the initial lead is that number 31 of Derek Justice. Tom Salvain was on the outside in that number 2 machine. He is right now running second, but he is under heavy pressure. Looks to be from Blake McCandless down there on the bottom side in that 02. A battle of the twos for that number 2 spot.
Yeah, Blake to the inside, the 0-2. Tom Sylvain, that Miller Genuine Draft number 2 on the high lane. Tom will slide up the hill. That's going to allow Blake to roll by. Also a race for fourth beyond back. Martin Karch, he'll slide around that 18 of Robert Balcom. That's racing within the top 5 as they exit turn number 4.
Yeah, Martin Karch in that number 92 is running in that 4th spot. 5th would be the number 18 of Robert Balcom in the Apple Collision sponsored machine. Having a good solid run here early on in the going. We're coming up to complete lap 4, so it is really early on in the going here. Richmond International Speedway. These guys are pretty much single file, Phil, not jumping on the line here early. Maybe they're going to stay here and see what's going to happen with some of these tires. I'm not sure what kind of grip, what kind of wear that these guys are going to get on their tires here this evening.
Well, it's Richmond, Todd. Every time you come to Richmond, it's about how do you approach these corners. You can drive this thing in real deep, get that back end kicked out just a little bit, but that may risk damaging your tires, getting them warm, and they may start pushing on you real bad. So it's going to be about tire management here tonight. I think you're going to see these guys back up the corner, let the throttle roll, maybe pick up that gas pedal late and get back on it, let this thing just glide off of these corners. And so far, you're seeing Derek Justice. He was super fast in practice, and he's setting the pace here in the feature event here now with a 1 second leader better as they hit turns number 3 and 4. He's just starting to pull away, Todd, as that's a great race for second. Blake McCandless, the 0-2, is there, but he's got a mirrorful of Tom Sylvain. He's going to swing to the low side as they hit turn 1.
McCandless backs out of it a little bit there. That allows the number 2, Tom Sylvain, to get by him. Put Sylvain to the second spot. Third now is McCandless in that 0-2 machine, now under heavy fire from the number 92 of Martin Karch. Karch now trying to take over that third spot. He's about a car length and a half behind McCandless for that third spot right now, Phil. So these guys pretty much looks like they're running away and hiding here. The top 4 guys almost 2 seconds. Well, there's 2 seconds between the leader and 4th place, but 2.6 seconds to Robert Balcom there from Martin Karch. So it's about half a second between Karch and Robert Balcom there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and you saw Tom Sylvain. He got that thing deep into turn 1 and 2. Maybe got the tires hot as Blake was able to slide on by, as was Martin. And here comes Robert Balcom. He'll slide up to position number 5 as well in the number 18. No, that's number 4 now. Those guys all marching forward. But as you said, Todd, the 31, Derek Justice, our defending series champion, he is just pulled out to a 2.5 second advantage in that number 31, the defending series champion, 7-time winner, setting the pace. But we got the sights on that battle for second, Todd. Blake McCandless, the 0-2, he's got a mirrorful of Martin Karch. Martin trying to find room on the low side. Can't quite make nothing of that. Robert Balcom's also right there in the 18 as well. Those guys trying to do all they can, but that 31, he is certainly on a blistering pace around this place.
Yeah, 2.5 seconds ahead of Blake McCandless in that 0-2 machine. We just said about a second 1.1 last time, Phil. Now it's up to 2.4 seconds, 2.5 seconds between himself and Blake McCandless. Now this time by it's now up to 2.6 seconds. So blistering pace being set by the 31 of Derek Justice in that Baskin-Robbins sponsor machine. Blake McCandless right there running for second. He's got heavy pressure from that 92 of Martin Karch. Karch, a little bit different angle into the corner than the 0-2 of McCandless. McCandless runs on the extreme bottom. It looks like the 92 of Karch is up just about a half a groove than what McCandless is running. That's a nifty thing about Richmond. It's almost like a super speedway kind of feel here at the Richmond International Speedway. For being a short track, Phil, it's got some high speeds.
Oh, it certainly does. You can really get around this place at a tremendous clip, and These guys so far through the first 13 circuits, all clean and green. It's the 31 of Derek Justice with the race lead. Blake McCandless currently in that second spot. Martin Karch, Robert Baucom, Tom Sylvain currently in the fifth spot. But I'm looking back there outside of the top 5, seeing a great run out the gate with 22 of Gary Piccolo. He's just there, Todd, was minding his own business, qualified in the top 5. Currently in the 6th spot, just going to ride there, mind his P's and Q's, and he's got a great battle out. His windshield there is the 2 of Sylvain. He's around the 18 of Baucom at the exit turn 2.
Yeah, Sylvain back into the top 5 in that number 2. He's doing pretty good here, Sylvain is, after his little bit of a hiccup here early on in the going. It looks like Baucom going to slip up the track just a little bit. That allowed Gary Piccolo to close the gap between himself and the number 18 of Robert Baucom. Baucom running in that 5th position, I should say. In that number 18 machine, and like Gary Piccolo wants to get inside the top 5. He's one of those guys that are trying so hard, Phil, to either get one of those wins or get himself enough points to get inside and get himself into that scramble. I know Gary has not had the greatest luck this year, and a lot of the drivers haven't had a lot of good luck here this year. Some of the drivers you would have thought would have had a win by now, definitely big goose egg.
Oh yeah, Gary Piccolo certainly on that list. Comes in tonight, 9th place on the points, and as you said, winless on the season. If we were to end today, Todd, if we were 5 weeks out to Kansas, he would be that first guy on the outside looking in to that scramble. And hard to believe they're 9th in the standings. Well, what do you mean? Gary Piccolo certainly don't have a win, but you know, it's getting to the point, it's crunch time. He's got 50 points in between him and Martin Karch, so it's getting down to crunch time. He needs one of those guys to win, or he's going to win himself, and we got a lot still up to figure out here, Todd. It's yellow flags on the speedway now with 16 laps in the books.
Yeah, yellow flag definitely out on the speedway. I almost think it involved the ageless one, the Flying Fossil, the 69 of Keith Patton. We're going to have to wait and see what happens there. He is definitely behind the wall in that number 69 machine. Tough break for the Flying Fossil. We haven't got to see him a lot so far here on DRTV this year, Phil, and it's good to see him back, but it's real bad to see him behind the wall already.
I'm not exactly sure what was going on there with the 69 of Keith Patton. I'm not sure if he got it too deep into the corner or just had to check up right away, and well, there was a little bit of contact out there, I believe, between him and it might have been the Monty Keller machine. I don't want to speculate. We'll let Rich tell the story here when he gets the DRTV replay all queued up, but looks like maybe a speed bump there for the 69 of Keith Patton, and unfortunately, Todd, for our buddy Keith, looks like behind the wall, his night's going to be done here early on as pit road is open. It looks like we have a lot of comers to pit road.
Yeah, a lot of them coming down on pit road. Going to see right now the 31 of Derek Justice taking right side tires. You got Tom Sylvain taking right side tires. I can see both of those cars down there on getting service there. Looks like 4 tires is the call up and down pit road. Blake McCandless out there. Probably the quickest car out there is the 02 of Blake McCandless. I think he beat Derek Justice off of pit road, Phil.
Yeah, tremendous pit stop there by the 02 camp. He did win the race off pit road. Also, Martin, he had a great pit stop in the 92. I'm not sure if he took all 4 tires, but he certainly jumped up. But I believe Rich is ready for the first time tonight with the DRTV replay, so let's go down to the booth to Rich.
Yeah, you guys called it right. It is the Flying Fossil 69 of Keith Patton. We're going to watch this go through. Looks like he just gets in the corner a little bit hot. Going to try to go down inside Monte Keller a little bit. Had too much, pushes up into him a little bit. He's already loose and makes contact with the left rear corner of Monte Keller. That's going to go ahead and spin him sideways. Doesn't look like anybody really hit anything. Everybody was able to slow up, check up, and see what was going on. And, oh, tough break there. Almost got tagged. Keith's going to put the nose into the wall to try to get that car turned around. I know they pulled him back behind the wall earlier. I don't know if he's out for the night or what. You guys can check on that, but he probably is. Tough break for Keith Patton.
No, it certainly is. Tough break for the 69 there. He got pointed in the wrong direction. And I don't know if he broke a gear, Todd, or he was just frustrated and maybe pulled it behind the wall. But looks like the 69's night is done. And that's a tough break. You know, Keith Patton, he's been one of the diehards here to TDR Racing for a long time. And it's always great to see him out on the racetrack when he gets a chance to come out. And, you know, unfortunately, the 69, it looks like he's going to be out for the evening, Todd. But for all these guys that are watching here tonight on YouTube here, this Premier Cup Series, it has been phenomenal in 2016. And you guys, of course, can find all the information on this website, tdr-racing.net. And Todd, we invite all these guys that are out there watching, any driver out there to be a part of the series. It's been phenomenal, and we still have 5 more broadcasts here left in 2016, which is going to be exclusive coverage of the Path Revere Scramble. It's going to be awesome here in a few weeks.
Yeah, definitely going to be awesome here in a few weeks. I was also down on the pit road a little bit longer, Phil, talking to the crew chief of the number 22 of Gary Piccolo. I did hear some issues that was going on with the 22. They're under pace lap, the 22 of Gary Piccolo. This came up that he broke first gear right off the bat. So Gary Piccolo without first gear, they tried to work on it during that pit stop. They're not going to be able to get him first gear. So Piccolo has to restart in second gear all evening long.
How much do you think they're having to lose that first gear and restarting in second gear, Todd, at a place like a Richmond when it's tough to come up to speed? Just tell our viewers out there, just how tough is that? How much of a burden is that to not have that benefit of first gear at a short track like Richmond?
That's definitely going to suck. It's not going to be really easy. Hopefully somebody can push him up to speed. Hopefully he can use somebody to his advantage, sort of like a pick maneuver. But I know I'm just hearing that through in-race communications, Gary talking to his spotter that he was hoping it was just a little bit shorter, that they would have put a little bit of different gear in there for that second gear. So we're gonna have to wait and see what's gonna happen here, Phil. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be tough to start in that second gear.
But we'll have to keep an eye on Gary as the van is in. Green flag is out. 23 laps coming on the board. It's Blake McCandless. He's going to restart with the race lead. The 31 of Derek Justice, the 2 of Tom Sylvain, the 92 Martin Karch, the 18 Robert Baucom. That is your current top 5 short track racing here, Premier Cup Series, Todd. The rule is no passing until the exit of turn 2. So you see these guys stay in single file formation, but these guys now putting one more lap on the restart on the board. You'll see these guys start juking and jiving, and we see that for the race lead. The 31 of Derek Justice. He's to the inside. He'll reclaim the race lead off of turn 2.
Yeah, he makes short work of McCandless there out of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Justice now to the lead. McCandless now to second. Third would be Tom Sylvain. Fourth is the 92 of Martin Karch. And fifth right now is Robert Baucom. Gary Piccolo holding on to that 6th position after that restart, Phil. And that's one of the things that we didn't mention. You know, you're talking about they're not allowed to pass till out of turn 2 on all starts and restarts here at the Richmond International Raceway. And it's going to be interesting to see. I know Gary Piccolo was able to hold off the 72 that way of Isaac Johnson. Johnson all over the rear bumper, and the number 72 machine is all over the 22 Gary Piccolo. But Piccolo able to keep that 6th spot even with the second gear, so that may help him just a little bit. Like I said, the benefit of not being able to pass till out of turn 2.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big deal for Gary here. That may allow him to get back up to speed. These guys can't pounce on him, as you said. You see Isaac Johnson right there all over his back bumper, the number 72. And I think it's 2 different strategies here, Todd. We talked about the scramble here a little while ago. Isaac's a 2-time winner in the Premier Cup Series season this year. He's got himself in a great position, 13th in the points. If it was a start today, we would see the 72 as part of the scramble. The 22 of Gary Piccolo, not so much. He's that first guy on the outside looking in. He desperately needs to make something happen. He needs to get himself to victory lane, or he needs guys like Martin, Ken Hansen, Ryan Johnson to find victory lane. How much do you think that plays in the scenario of those 2 guys racing on the racetrack? It's got to be 2 completely different mindsets.
Yeah, it's got to be 2 different mindsets out there on the speedway right now. It's playing in the hands. Gary Piccolo's kind of got to go and try to get as many spots as he can, and try to make up as many points positions as he can, or else just try to go for the win. You know, 50 points is an awful lot of points to actually make up there on Martin Karch. So as Sylvain makes the pass for that 2nd spot around the 02 of McCandless, puts Tom Sylvain to 2nd. 3rd is McCandless, but it's going to be interesting to see if what's going to happen. But Derek Justice, I tell you right now, is already up to a 2nd lead over the number 2 of Tom Sylvain, and it'll probably lengthen out just a little bit more.
Yeah, he's trying to open up that lead. You know, that lead on 2nd spot there is Tom Sylvain, as you said, the number 2, and he was certainly fast all night long here, Todd. He was 2nd fastest to Derek there in practice, and Tom's a feature winner in the Premier Cup Series this year, but on the outside looking in, he's down buried about 27th position on the racetrack. Is yellow flag now. Yellow flag number 2 for the 2nd time tonight under the caution flag, and it looks like maybe an incident, Todd, around the 59 of Ryan Johnson, which is certainly a tough break for him as he comes in tonight 2nd in the point standings. You know, the first guy that has not won a race, and looks like his night, Todd, may prematurely come to an end.
Yeah, it looks like contact, Ryan Johnson, some kind of contact. I'm not sure with who. It looked like just slight contact, but it sent him into the outside wall. I'm going to leave that to Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, who has the replays queued up. They'll be ready here momentarily. As soon as he gives me the cue, I'll throw it down to him. But that's a tough break for the number number 59 machine of Ryan Johnson, but I got the cue. Let's throw it down to Mr. TV Time Rich Patton to show all you fans out there on YouTube what happened.
Yeah, you guys called it right. It is the 59 of Ryan Johnson. It looks like the 103 of Carson Krenz may have made contact with him a little bit. We're going to go ahead and play this out as they get into this corner, and it gets a little bit rough. Right there, it looks like Carson's going for the inside, and he made contact. That's going to send Ryan up into the wall. He hits the wall head on hard. The front end of that car is just crunched. And then all of a sudden there's Fast Eddie Lee. Got nowhere to go. Ryan Johnson comes right down in front of him, and that's going to tilt him on his side. He is now sliding on the passenger door. He almost tried to do a roll. He got it back on all four rubbers, but that thing is pouring smoke out of it now as he takes it down to the inside wall. I believe Ryan Johnson's night is done. Guys, back up to you.
Yeah, that's certainly a tough break there for the 59 Ryan Johnson. Contact between him and Carson Krenz in the 103, as you said, and said Ryan coming tonight, second place in the point standings, 26 points on back. But Todd, he may have a cushion. You look up and down the point standings, he's got a total of 356 points on the season. You know, Martin Karch, that last guy who hasn't won a race, at 322, so that's a 44-point difference from second to sixth place in the standings. You look down at Gary Piccolo, the last guy, you know, not in the chase or not in the scramble right now, as we would say. 270 points Gary has scored in the season, so that's 156 points to difference. So, you know, a guy like Ryan, this may not hurt him so bad, but I'm sure he's certainly disappointed to be out of this race here so soon.
Yeah, I'm sure he's disappointed in that number 59 machine. It's just tough to be out early, and you want that cushion. There's still a few races left here, Phil, to get into this chase, the scramble, I should say, to get into the scramble. But I'm not sure. You know, you can't just keep giving points away like that, and that's not what he wants to do. Ryan wants a solid top 10 finish, and Ryan's been doing that all year long, and it's just tough to be out this early, and it's going to kill his momentum here in these other races.
Yeah, it certainly will. Certainly tough to see the 59 out behind the wall, and you know, of course, that's going to put the 103 of Carson Krenz at the tail end of the longest line. 15 drivers of the 17 left back on the racetrack, and Todd, I saw pit road was open. I seen a couple of guys down I up in pit road, but I didn't see our leaders get on. Did you look to pit road and see any of our leaders take 4 tires?
I didn't get a chance to see all of the guys down on pit road. I was kind of reviewing that wreck myself and going back through. I have the tools up here to actually go back through and look and see what happened in that wreck. But I was going back through looking at that wreck, but I did get to see a lot of these leaders down on pit road. I'm not sure if they took 4 tires. I know most of them took 2 tires. McCandless did not get out the quickest this time. Actually, Derek Justice's crew actually got him back out there in the lead in that 31 machine. So it's going to be tough, but as of right now, the 31 of Derek Justice is your leader. Second is Tom Salvain. Blake McCandless is sitting third. Fourth is Martin Karch. Fifth is Robert Balcom. Sixth is Isaac Johnson. Seventh is the 112 of Chris Harder-Felix. Racing Jesse Klein, excuse me. Jason, I don't know why I keep calling him Jason, because Jason Skroki's down there below. But the 57 of Jesse Klein is sitting eighth. Ninth is the number 17, Jason Skroki. We know him as J-Rock through the community, but having a good solid run here inside the top 10. Gary Piccolo is 10th. 11th is the 109 of Ken Hansen. 12th is Monte Keller of the 028. 13th is the 43 of Bobby Farrell. 14th is the 210 of Ed Stancliffe. 15th is the 103 of Carson Krenz. And 16th is Ryan Johnson and Keith Patton. As the van pulls off, they're getting ready to put the loud pedal down. Green flag's in the air, loud pedal is down once again. Derek Justice leading them down here in the corner number 1. You cannot pass till out of turn number 2. So Justice has his free will into the corner and off of turn 2 down the back straightaway. He has a 2-car length advantage over Tom Salvain.
Yeah, he got on that gas pedal, let that thing just glide out. That Baskin-Robbins Ford, that number 31. He's got the race league now, 38 laps of 160 going up on the board. Tom Salvain there in the second spot. Blake McCandless, Martin Karch, and Robert Balcom. That is your current top 5. All single file there, Todd, but we're seeing some new names emerging here through the latter part of the top 5. Isaac Johnson currently 6th, and Chris Harder-Felix to number 112. It's been a few months since we've seen Chris here in the Premier Cup Series having a great run. He is all over that 72 car as they hit turn 1.
Yeah, definitely all over the 72 car there. He's about a car length and a half there, but Chris Felix making some moves up through the field here in that 112 machine. 72 of Isaac Johnson all over the rear bumper of the 18 of Robert Balcom. Johnson, I'm telling you, he was Rookie of the Year last year here in the DRTV Premier Cup Series in that number 72 machine, having another great year, as Phil was saying here early on in the going. In the 72 of Isaac Johnson, now running in 6th, and short track's one of his specialties in that number 72 machine.
He said he's a two-time winner this year. You know, he said Rookie of the Year last season, having a tremendous year this year. I know he's been out racing on the dirt tracks as he gets his feet wet into real racing there on the dirt. So it's great to see Isaac anytime he's out here on a Saturday night. A two-time winner, comes in tonight 13th points in the standings in a very, very comfortable position. If we were going to make that scramble 5 weeks from tonight when that thing starts, Isaac Johnson, Todd, looking good in that number 72 is he's racing Robert Balcom, who's also a two-time winner. Those guys racing tooth and nail for the 5th spot as they hit turn 1.
Yeah, definitely racing tooth and nail for that 5th spot, and those guys really trying to work it out and see what happens here. But Robert Balcom just currently staying in that 5th spot with Isaac Johnson. He does peek down there just a little bit. But here comes Blake McCandless now as the battle for that 2nd spot is heated up. McCandless now to 2nd. Here comes Martin Karch. He's going to try to use that bottom group to get around the 2 of Tom Salvain and try to put himself into the 3rd spot in that number 92 machine. Looks like he's going to be able to do so, not quite so fast as the 2 of Tom Salvain, still fighting back on the outside. That's going to leave it wide open for Robert Balcom. Salvain slipping back, and he's on the outside looking in, Phil, right now. That's not where he wants to be.
No, absolutely not at all. And I think that this shows the sensitivity of this racetrack, Todd. If you slip off that low lane, just opens the door, you know, much like we saw at Bristol years ago. When you let that bottom lane go, that inside lane just freight trained you. And I think that's exactly what you're seeing with the 2 of Tom Sylvain. Drop kick back all the way from that 2nd spot now, all the way to that 6th position is Isaac Johnson. As you said, the 72 was able to make way, but we know Tom's got a fast car. That Flying Deuce there, he's been fast all night. A feature winner in the Premier Cup Series here a few weeks ago, but on the outside looking in. 26th in the standings there coming in tonight is Tom Sylvain with a lot of racing here left to go. Does he have enough time to get back in that top 20, Todd? I'm not exactly so sure, but we'll have to see what Tom does. He's certainly a fast driver, and I'm sure we'll see that Deuce back to the front here before too long as there's single file, Todd, and it's once again Derek Justice. He's opened up a big race lead there as they hit turn 3.
Yeah, almost 1.5 seconds, actually 1.482 seconds over him, over Blake McCandless, and Martin Karch is 1.8 seconds back. It looks like it just kind of faltered there just a little bit. It did not go as hard as it was once before. It looks like Martin Karch really, really racy in that number 92 machine. The high side hustler was all over the rear bumper of McCandless there, going through 1 and 2. He had one whale of a run on McCandless. It looks like McCandless did not get through the center off in that 02 machine, as well as the number 92 of Martin Karch. But now Karch gave him a little bit of distance here. It looks like Karch is a rocket here through 1 and 2. As McCandless coming off the corner number 2 here down that back straightaway. McCandless able to keep that gap there, Phil. But now yellow flag going to fly on the speedway. Not sure what happened here. Looks like it might have been that 103 of Carson Krenz. He's behind the wall already, behind on that tow truck.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened there to Carson. I have to go back and take a look to see maybe what happened. But I do see the 103. He has pulled that thing behind the wall. So maybe some issues there for Carson. Not sure if his night's going to be done. We don't want to speculate. We'll let Rich Patton go back and show the DRTV replay. But we're under the third caution flag of the night now, working lap number 49. The Salute to Heroes 160 here. The Richmond International Raceway, done up by all these guys at TDR Racing. The 26th event for the Premier Cup Series here in 2016. And Rich Patton, I believe you're ready with the replay. I think it's just a solo spin there for our friend Carson on the 103.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. 103, Carson Krenz does get into the corner, gets a little bit loose. The rear end's going to come around him. We'll go ahead and run this through on our slow motion replay as he gets down into the corner. He's following the 70 of Skaraki, and he gets it right in the middle groove there, and the rear end just starts sliding up on him. It's almost like slow motion. He jumps on the brakes to try to keep him from going around. That was not enough. Slams the back end right into the outside wall there, right on that American Evolution sign for Chevrolet. Tough break for 103 of Carson Krenz. He's going to go ahead and take it to the backside and see if they can do something on it. I don't know if his night's over or not, but tough break for Carson.
Well, unfortunately, Rich, it looks like Carson has retired from the event. He'll finish up tonight 15th. So 14 drivers left on the racetrack, Todd, with 110 laps remaining here at Richmond. You know, we call Richmond the action track, but you think about it here. Premier Cup Series in 2016, realistic damage in a place like a Richmond, when you get into these close quarters, they can certainly gobble cars up quickly. And unfortunately, 3 drivers out of the event here through the first half of this race.
Yeah, definitely 3 drivers. Not the way you wanna see things happen here early on in the going in Richmond International Raceway. And not sure what Robert Balcom is doing in the 18 machine. He's way down to the bottom side. Maybe got himself in the longest line penalty in that number 18 machine. Yeah, not 100% sure with the number 18. Maybe just going down there to feel it out down there. But Robert Balcom now moved himself up into that second spot. And that number 18 machine, Phil, it's going to be interesting to see how Robert Balcom got up there. I'm not sure. Did he take 2 tires, or did you see him take 4?
No, it was definitely a 4-tire pit stop for the 18 of Robert Balcom. That Apple Collision Center's Wicked Designs machine there. That thing is that's a fabulous paint job there. Hats off to Wicked Designs on that one there. Is that number 18? It is sparkling, it is dazzling, and looks like, Todd, you said, a tremendous pit stop is going to propel him now to position number 2, and everybody's been chasing that 31 of Derek Justice, Todd. Not sure what makes Derek so fast on these short tracks, but every time we go to a place like a Richmond, we get to the 1 miles, anything that's a rhythm kind of racetrack that's line sensitive, he almost seems to shine. As we said, a 7-time winner of the season, the defending champion of the series, and looks like he's having his way with this field here through these first 50 laps.
You did hit the nail on the coffin, or nail on the head, I should say. I'm going to say coffin because I'm not sure why I'm doing that tonight. But you did hit the nail on the head with a rhythm track. This is a rhythm track, and Derek Justice is really good at a rhythm type of track. And it's just he seems to be on his game plan. It just he goes in the corner, you see him hit the same exact groove every single time. And some of these guys are actually moving around trying to find that groove. But it looks like Derek Justice is just spot on here. And it's going to be interesting to see maybe later on in a run, if we get a long green flag run, what's going to happen to Derek Justice. Is somebody going to be able to rattle his cage a little bit? If they can rattle his cage, Phil, I think they could get by Derek Justice. But right now, he's got a rhythm down pat.
I don't know. We'll have to see through these last 107 laps or so what is going to happen here if these guys get a long green flag run. With that 31, he's been the class of the field all night, and all these guys in the top 5, those guys have established themselves as the fastest cars here through these first 50 laps. And it's a DRTV Pace Van heads to pit road. We're going to go back under green flag racing here. The Salute to Heroes 160 at the Richmond International Raceway, paying homage to all our men and women out there that serve the fire, rescue, whatever, the military, everybody out there. If you serve this country, we salute you here tonight on DRTV. Is they're under green here, Todd, but it was certainly an interesting situation. The 18 of Robert Balcom, he looks like he may have spun his tires, and that stacked the entire field up there on the restart.
Yeah, it does look like he spun his tires, and that's going to leave the door wide open for all those guys behind him. McCandless there, crossover maneuver as McCandless took it from the 18 of Robert Balcom. Balcom now wants it back. He's down on the bottom side at a high-low switch maneuver out of Robert Balcom. You see a lot of that on dirt tracks all across the United States here. Now they're doing it here at Richmond, and they're 2 wide, 2 by 2 here for the second, third, fourth, and fifth position out there on the speedway. This is interesting to see what's happened. These guys fighting tooth and nail here early on in the going, Phil.
Yeah, on new tires at that. And now we're going to be 3 wide off of turn 2, the 57 of Jesse Klein. He sticks it down low. Isaac Johnson sandwich up in the middle. The 92, Martin Cart, she's a high side hustler. Not sure how much he's going to enjoy being 3 wide at Richmond, as these guys, they're going to make contact. They'll get it sorted out, but tremendous racing here at Richmond here, Todd. And on the restart, you get these guys all bunched up. They think, new tires, let's go. And Jesse Klein, the 57, he is on the move. He's up to the 4th spot now in turn 3.
Definitely like Superman there, going through the middle, 3 wide. That Insomniac Motorsports sponsored machine up to 4th. We haven't seen much of Jesse Klein here on DRTV as of late. Been battling around with some different conditions here in his other life. But it's great to see him back out there behind the wheel. And like you said, Phil, he is up to actually the 5th position in that number 57 machine, having a good, solid run. And we were talking 3 wide. They were doing it on TV, Phil. They're doing it on DRTV also.
Oh, absolutely. They were 3 wide racing here at the Richmond International Raceway here on DRTV. Saw 3 wide racing and just peeking over to the Sprint Cup race. Tremendous racing there, it looks like, as well. But we're going to put 60 on the board next time by. 100 laps remain in the Salute the Heroes 160. Almost like an extraditions type feel here tonight, as these guys at Richmond, this place has a way to grind cars out. The speeds will fall off. You'll see cars get tore up and these guys make contact. We've been slowed through 3 caution flags over the first 60 laps, but it's the same song and dance here, Todd. It is the 31 of Derek Justice, 7-time winner. Took his 8th pole of the evening, has led much of these first 60 circuits, and once again reestablishing himself as the fastest car here tonight at Richmond. They're single file through the first 3 or 4 spots, but side by side now for that 5th spot. Jesse Klein, the 57, Isaac Johnson, the 72, maybe a little contact as they hit turn 3.
Yeah, almost a little contact there. The 72 of Isaac Johnson drove it in real hard, and I didn't know if he was going to be able to make it stick. He was able to make it stick. Used Jesse Klein just a little bit up there in the corner there and pushed him up the track. Left the door wide open for the number 92 of Martin Karch. Karch now moves into that 6th spot in the number 92. The 72 of Isaac Johnson now moves into 5th, but Jesse Klein drop kicks himself back to the 7th position in the number 57 machine. Right now, Phil, I've been looking at the fastest lap times here of the evening, going up and down as we hit lap 63 of 160 here. 31 of Derek Justice, no surprise, he's been your leader. He is the fastest guy out there, again, on the speedway, but he also has the fastest lap of the night with a 20.879. The 92 of Martin Karch, second quick with a 20.984. That's just going to show you how much of a difference there is between Justice and Martin Karch in the number 92 machine. Jesse Klein, 4th quickest here, 4th quickest lap of the evening. He's running 7th. So, Phil, it could be anybody's race here, but right now Derek Justice has the fastest lap of the evening, and he's just every lap has been faster than anybody else on the speedway.
Yeah, and he stretched that thing now out, Todd, to 3 seconds. If you can believe that in a place like Richmond. That 31 car last time by, 3.022 seconds to second place Robert Bauckham. We're seeing those guys second place on back. It's 5 or 6 cars all in a gaggle there with the 18, the 02 McCandless, the 2 of Sylvain, the 72 of Johnson, the 92 Karch, Klein, and the 57. Also Gary Piccolo there with 22. Those 7 drivers all in tow of each other, but all chasing that 31, Todd. And if you're Robert Bauckham behind the wheel, you don't have a great car watching that 31 drive away. What goes through your mind there if you're that second place car, Todd, just watching a guy like Derek just drive off in the distance at a place like Richmond?
Well, I'm hoping maybe he's using his tires up as he's driving off in the distance. And most of the time, that's what I'm trying to think and trying to stay on my game plan. Most of the time you should be driving the track, especially like Richmond, when it's a rhythm track. You drive the track and not the other racers out there on the track, especially when you're in that second position. You're watching him drive away. Just worry about yourself and try to stay in front of everybody else and just drive that track whatever way you need to. Maybe focus on hitting your marks. So it looks like Bauckham, like we're saying, as Rich is saying in my ear, he's slowly starting to pull away from the 02 of Blake McCandless. But Robert Bauckham, I tell you, is no stranger to victory lane here on DRTV, no stranger to some of these short tracks, and he does very, very well. But it's a rhythm track, this Richmond International Raceway is, Phil. And I'm going to say that all evening long. It's just, you've got to stay on top of your game. You've got to make sure you hit your marks every single time.
Yeah, we know Robert Bauckham is no stranger to short tracks at all. We've seen him in the DRTV Modified Series here through the last couple of seasons. Just put a licking on him on the short tracks here. But, up to that second spot, as you said, 3.2 seconds here. Does Derek Justice had that advantage at the line last time around? The 18 starting to ever so pull away from that second pack there. But we've had a position change there for the third spot. The 2 of Tom Sylvain. We know he's been quick all night long. He was able to make the pass on the 02 of Blake McCandless, as did Martin Karch, the 92. He was able to slide by the 72 of Isaac Johnson. So we're seeing the cream of the crop start to rise up to the top of this field here, Todd. 71 laps up on the board and still all chasing that 31 machine. Single file racing throughout the top 10 as they hit turn 3.
Definitely single file racing out there throughout the top 10. It's been interesting to see what's going on with Jason Skrocki. And I want to give a big shout out to him. He don't get a lot of time out there on the speedways anymore. Does J-Rock out there in that number 70 machine, beautifully prepared. NRT game servers, SBP, Safer Barrier sponsored. car, and he's just doing very well, running in that 11th position, staying out of trouble, keeping his nose clean, and J-Rock doing very well. Like I said, Phil, you got to give a shout out to him. And a lot of these tracks that he's actually built, I mean, he's done a fantastic job throughout the community. He's been with the community for years and years and years, Phil, just as long as I have been here, and everybody else. It's just great to see him back out there and actually take the time to race in NASCAR 2003.
Yeah, and the greatest part when we highlight J-Rock here tonight, you know, we always talk about his work with Safer Barrier Project and all these phenomenal racetracks he does for us here in the community of NASCAR Racing 2003. And but you know, we're here tonight, the Salute the Heroes 160. J-Rock, he served in the U.S. military, so he's one of the guys here we salute here tonight as we pay homage to all those who have served or continue to serve this great land. And it's great to see a guy like J-Rock out there on the racetrack tonight in that beautifully prepared number 70. Probably not having the quite kind of run he's hoping to get there, Todd, but having a solid run so far. Currently in the 11th spot. He's got Chris Harder-Felix out his windshield on the 112. And, you know, as you say, J-Rock does so much work behind the scenes for us here on DRTV as part of this community here with so many great, fabulous racetracks, always doing great. Check out his website, saferbarrierproject.com. So many great latent designs. You know, this guy has done tracks for this community for many, many years, and they are top-notch, Todd. We see them here week after week on DRTV. J-Rock and Safer Barrier Project, a partner to us here at DRL, and, you know, the official track provider of all the racetracks here on the Premier Cup Series season here in 2016, and having a great run. And as you said, does not get to see nearly enough of the racetrack, and we're so thankful to have him out here tonight, as all these guys are out parading around Richmond tonight. Still all chasing that 31 of Derek Justice, Todd. Nothing changing in the top 5, but seeing a great race going on as we left off for third spot. Tom Sylvain currently has it, but he's got a miracle of Blake McCandless, and Blake trying to peek to the inside, the door slamming shut, but those guys racing tooth and nail looking for racetrack there off of turn 2.
Yeah, those guys definitely looking for racetrack, and it looks like Sylvain running some different groove than the 02 of McCandless. McCandless trying to get down to the bottom side, but Sylvain, it runs kind of the middle and then comes down to the bottom. So lap after lap after lap, if you watch Sylvain right now, he comes in and his entry is a little higher than McCandless, and that's got to be scrubbing a little bit less rubber off that number 2 machine as the 02 of McCandless, driving it in hard and deep. He's got to be able to let off a little bit. It's going to have to be grinding his tires just a little bit in that 02 machine. It's just you're driving it in down low, and it's got to be harder on the tires.
Is that what you're telling me, Todd? You're saying grinding up the tires there by going in the inside lane. Do you think the smart thing at Richmond to do here is to arc it around and maybe save the tires? Is that the thing to do here at Richmond, or can you afford to grind these tires on the inside lane with being 60 to 65 laps on a fuel and tire run? Can you make 60 laps here if you run as deep as you do as Blake is on the inside lane?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. That's what I'm actually trying to say. But I thought you were throwing that to Rich for some odd reason here tonight. But because he's a little bit more of a short track guru than I am, it's just interesting to see what happens. Like I said, if you run hard and deep onto the bottom side here, Phil, it's gonna eat up your tires, I believe. Maybe Rich has a little bit more insight on that because, like I said, I'm not really that great at short tracks. I'm more of an intermediate type of person.
Well, let's ask Rich Pat. I know he's probably off out in La La Land. You know, he's got his hands full in the booth, maybe a plate full of food as he always does here on a Saturday night. You know, we get to do all the talking and he gets to do all the eating up here. But Rich, for watching these two different lines there, Tom Sylvain of the 2 and Blake McCandless running that inside lane in the O2. How much do you think in a place like Richmond, Blake using that inside lane? You know, we talk about the fuel window, the tire window being 60 to 65. How much do you think running that low lane damage your tires here at a place like Richmond? Because I know from past experience, you get around a place like Richmond really, really well.
I think it could hurt him. A lot of it's going to depend on how these two guys are attacking that corner with the throttle. The throttle means everything in those corners. And, you know, if Tom is rolling out early, diving down to the center of the corner and then coming out strong, he's probably not as bad as McCandless. If McCandless is diving in low and staying in it looks like this lap around, he's actually following the same footprints, trying to come out a little bit lower didn't work out. He got some speed scrubbed off coming off the corner that last time by. But it looks like he's trying to enter low, which means he's going to be pushing up or sliding up and fighting it to hold it down. So McCandless is probably taking a little bit more out of his tires, I think, than Tom Sylvain is right now. I think Sylvain's running an awesome line.
No, he certainly has a great line there. He usually does when you get to a place like this, and we'll have to keep an eye on what these guys do through these last half of the race. Now past the halfway marker, 87 laps of 160 up on the board, and just looking up around here, Ty, you know, what we're here tonight, the Salute the Heroes 160. Another paint job I do want to highlight, because I know somebody very, very proud of that. That's the United States Air Force machine, that number 43 of Bobby Farrell. That is a paint job near and dear to his heart. I know Bobby out there having a struggle currently in that 14th spot, but that paint scheme is paying tribute to his father. He served in the United States Air Force, and you know, Bobby paying homage to that, asked me if we could highlight that car here over, you know, we see Bobby here on DRTV all the time. You know, he loves to talk, and if we get the chance to talk to him about that paint job, we certainly will. But, you know, Colonel Bobby Farrell's dad there, he served in the United States Air Force, and just one of the many branches of the military and all our first responders here, Todd, that we're so thrilled to pay homage to here tonight on DRTV with this Salute the Heroes race.
Yeah, another paint scheme. Another paint scheme that I also want to highlight, Phil, is number 92, Martin Karch. Martin out there in a Wounded Warriors project, sponsored machine, painted up, real beautiful, prepared number 92 machine. And if we're looking up there, Wicked Designs once again providing that paint scheme out there on the speedway, and Wicked Designs does a fantastic job there with all these designs. And Martin spent a long time on one of those Wounded Warrior project cars. So great paint scheme out there, great to see. But I'm seeing the 028 down there on pit road. He came down on pit road early, trying to get some tires, I believe, and some fuel. I think they're wearing their tires out pretty early, Phil.
Well, so we talked about the the fuel window being 60 to 65 laps at a place like Richmond, Todd. If you just run this line differently, you charge the throttle and you charge that corner, you can certainly eat up your tires. And how I did that, I was part of the TDR Great American Pro Series here one night ago here at Richmond. I know I chewed my tires up about 30 laps, and I couldn't take it no more. I had myself a terrible run. And I think Rich is just throwing it, Todd, and I'll throw it over to you. I believe we may see one of our race leaders on pit road. I believe the two of Tom Sylvain may be in getting service.
Yeah, the two of Tom Sylvain down to the 8 of his pit crew. Right side tires going on the number 2 Miller General Draft sponsored machine. Right side tires, they're finishing up work there. Now they're going over the left. Left side tires for that number 2. So 4 tires is the call for Tom Sylvain down here on pit road. Jackman getting ready to release the jack. He does so. Tom Sylvain down and away. 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, Phil, and some more Sunoco Racing fuel.
And that's interesting, Todd, because we restarted about lap number 50, and I'm seeing more drivers go on to pit road. I think the 57 of Jesse Klein, I believe he just took the inside. No, it wasn't the 57. I saw one car go sprinting down pit road as we're trying to update what happened to Tom Sylvain. I seen him, I don't know if aliens abducted that too, leaving pit road, but something's certainly going amiss there. We'll have to see what happened to the two, if he can get back on the racetrack. But looking, it was an Insomniac Motorsports machine on pit road. It wasn't Jesse Klein. It was the 210, Fast Eddie Lee. He's on the pit road in that green and black number 210. Looks like it's going to be a 4-tire pit stop for that Ford Todd. The 210 Ed Stancliffe currently out on the racetrack in that 12th spot. He's got 4 tires. He's down the way.
Yeah, a lot of those guys coming down pit road getting 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. Yep, it looks like Tom Sylvain has been abducted by aliens there. Tough break for the number 2 machine, just taking a green flag pit stop there early on in the going. And I tell you what, Phil, he was running some pretty consistent laps out there on the speedway. He was running 21.3s with Justice's 21.3s out there with those older tires. So taking a pit stop, I'm just trying to find somebody out there on the speedway that actually has took a pit stop here. And we're going to look here. I believe it was... you said Ed Stancliffe was down there on pit road. I'm going to have to see if he said nope. And Harder Felix is also out there. Some of these guys, I just want to see how much of a different barrier it is. Maybe I'll have to wait just a little bit. But I know 21.3s are the way of the land right now for the 02, the 18, and the 31, all running pretty much consistently in them 21.3s. But out there on fresh tires, you should be right there in the 21 or 29. So about half a second faster.
Yeah, the difference between new tires and old tires, as you said, with these faster cars, probably about a good half second. And I'm looking at guys like Ed Stancliffe go by the 92 of Martin Karch. Ed on those fresh tires, and he was able to make quick work off a turn 4, drive it deep down to turns number 1 and 2, and that 210 being able to pull away now. So maybe it's going to be the benefactor of newer tires here through this last little bit as I'm looking toward pit road. 4th place runner, the 92 Martin Karch. He's going to find his way to pit road, Todd.
Yeah, Martin Kart's coming down to the aid of his pit crew, slowing it down. He's coming down pit road. Looks like he should be able to make it on fuel the rest of the way from here. As we were saying, 60, 65 laps on a tank of fuel here. But tires, I don't think you're going to have to worry about tires. You're going to have to see what happens. So Martin Kart's down here on pit road, coming to the aid of his pit crew. I almost think that you should take 4 tires in it. It's probably that's what's going to happen. Right side tires going on the number 92 Wounded Warrior Ford Fusion is Jack Man just goes down, goes around. Now the number 92, it looks like left side tires going on to number 92, and it looks like they're going to be down and away.
Yellow flag is out on the speedway, and we may have a developing situation here. The 4th time tonight under the caution flag. Unfortunately for these guys, right in the middle of green flag pit stops. This is certainly going to get these guys' hands full. I don't want to tell the story here of what happened here. It may have put us under the yellow flag. There's no contact on the racetrack. It may be an engine expiring. I see one driver crawling down pit road. I think Rich is going to go back here and see what may have happened on a DRTV replay, but looks like, Todd, we have a developing situation on pit road.
I'm not sure what happened out there on the speedway. It's, like I said, I was down there covering pit road to see what was happening out there on the speedway and see what happens. But it's tough for some of these guys out there. But developing situation, we're going to have to see what happens there.
All right, well, let's not talk about it no more. Let's still with the Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton. Show us what happened, Rich, to our race leader.
Yeah, tough break for Justice in the 31 Baskin-Robbins machine. It looks like he got a little bit too many scoops of ice cream this time around. We're going to keep an eye on him as he runs through. We'll run this at full speed, and you can see right there the motor just let go. Nothing but smoke coming out of that machine. He was able to get that thing off the track pretty quickly, get it down on the inside apron. Luckily, didn't crash into anything. He was able to slow it down really quick, get it off the apron. The caution still came out on him. So tough break. I know he got the car down to his pit stall. I do not know if they're going to be able to keep that thing running or not, but the class of the field today is now heavily damaged and most likely possibly out of this event, guys. Tough break for Derek Justice.
Yeah, Rich, indeed. It's certainly a tough break for the 31 of Derek Justice. As you said, the class of the field all night long had a 3-second advantage, and let's see if the 31 may have his ear still on. Derek is Phil from DRTV, buddy. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Derek, you had a tremendously fast piece here tonight behind the wall with engine issues. Do you have an indication there what happened? Because you certainly had a fast for hot rod here tonight.
No indication at all. Gauges were fine, and just blew out a piston. That's what it looks like.
Now, you were the class of the field. I mean, you were able to get out there on the restarts and just drive away from these guys. And I'm not asking you about any of your secrets here live on DRTV, man, but what makes you so good at a place like Richmond here? You run a different line or whatever you do, but, you know, tell these guys out there, you know, what's it like out there to be able to drive away from the fast field like this? Because these guys on that second pack on back, those guys were fighting tooth and nail, and I'm sure you were grinning ear to ear able to drive away from those guys.
The way the setup package, what we have here today, it required a lot of trail braking, and some people don't have that ability to do so or don't feel comfortable doing. And I was doing a lot of trail braking, drag and brake, but keep a little gas input to keep the car glued down on the track in the corners.
Well, Derek, you know, the defending champion of the series coming in tonight with the points leader. 7 victories here on the season. I'm sure you're thoroughly disappointed to be out of the Salute to Heroes 160. You know, just past the halfway marker, 106 laps in now. But I know we've talked to you many, many times this season, but I want to give you the microphone one time to give a shout out to your friends, your family, say hello to you if you'd like to. Thank you, sponsors. The floor is all yours, bud.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for guys for putting this on, and for all the troops and, you know, officers and lieutenants, you know, all the heroes out there that protect us every day, that have our freedom. And also I want to give a shout out to my Uncle Kevin. He's not doing too good right now. He's on life support, so I want to send a prayer to him. Hopefully he makes it out okay.
All right. Well, Derek, once again, thanks for a few words. Your family certainly will be in our thoughts and prayers. And, man, you had a good beast, man. It's certainly tough to see you out of this thing. But we'll see you again here real soon on DRTV. Bit the Scramble coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'm sure we'll see you here.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Todd. Derek Justice, 31, had a fast hot rod tonight, the fastest car on the racetrack, and that's certainly going to change the complexion of this race.
Yeah, definitely going to change the complexion of this race. Green flag is in the air. We are too wide here at the start of this race. We had some cars on the tail end of the lead lap, and McCandless there into the rear bumper of the number 18 of Robert Balcom. These guys are side by side. Not sure who got the lucky dog. I believe it was the 43 of Bobby Farrell. Farrell was on the track at the time. Martin Karch was on pit road there at the time. But right now your current race leader is the 18 of Robert Balcom. The 210 of Ed Stancliffe trying to get one of his laps back the hard way. He's able to do a crossover maneuver, but here comes Robert Balcom firing back down on the inside. And that number 18 Apple Collision sponsored machine. The 02 of Blake McCandless now down on the bottom side there. He's trying to capitalize, trying to get around the 18 of Robert Balcom.
Great racing there between the 02 of McCandless, the 18 of Robert Balcom. Said now at the 31 out, Todd, these guys that were racing for second all of a sudden find themselves in position racing for a win. It is the 18 of Robert Balcom with the race lead. You got those three guys ahead, as you said. The 92 of Martin Karch trying to drive away. The 210 Ed Stancliffe. The 112 of Chris Hartofelax. Those guys hoping for a quick caution. Maybe get those laps back the hard way, as you said. It's Balcom, the 18, McCandless, the 02, and Gary Piccolo in the 22. Those three guys, Todd, nose to tail as they hit turn one.
Yeah, nose to tail. Gary Piccolo running in that third spot. The 02 of Blake McCandless all over the rear bumper of the 18 of Robert Balcom. Balcom looking for a way around Fast Eddie Lee in that number 210 machine. Looks like he's trying to get down to the bottom side, but Ed Stancliffe just a little bit quicker there in that middle groove there. He's got a different distinct line going into the corner. Almost looks like sort of like a Sylvain line. I'm going to call it here this evening is Sylvain was using the same exact line that Ed Stancliffe is using right now. Blake McCandless now pulls out the line down to the bottom side of the 18 of Robert Balcom. They are side by side there. Looks like Balcom and McCandless almost door slamming there through the corner off of 4 down the front straightaway. Robert Balcom leads that lap, but McCandless has that bottom groove and that preferred groove. Here comes Gary Piccolo down to the bottom. He's trying to stick a nose in there. He's trying to take over second.
Yeah, and he feels the pressure looming of trying to get that win to make the scramble here in a couple of weeks. It's the 22 of Gary Piccolo. I think the brains there on the better side of Valor there. And the 22 is not sure he had running room to make that pass cleanly. He'll fall back in line. But it's Blake McCandless now, your new race leader in the 02. Robert Balcom, the 18, now back to second as they put the 210 of Ed Stancliffe down another lap to the rears. Ed out there now 2 laps down in that 12th position, trying to salvage himself a good finish here, but now less than 45 laps to go. 115 on the board here in the Salute the Heroes 160, and a new race has complexion here as they exit turn 2.
Yeah, definitely a new race here around the Richmond International Raceway. The 57 of Jesse Klein also on the move. He's up to that 4th position. In that number 57 machine is Gary Piccolo is running in third. Like you said, Robert Balcom is running second and first right now in the running order is Blake McCandless aboard that number 02 machine. I'm taking a look up towards the front here as McCandless now trying to put down a lap down to the 112. Chris Hartofelax trying to put him down another lap, I should say, as Hartofelax was 1 lap down. Now they're trying to put him down 2 laps. Martin Karch now is trying to run away and hide from McCandless, and he's quite a ways ahead of these guys, but McCandless might be able to track him down if he cannot keep it out. But Karch now hoping for a yellow flag as he's only about a straightaway ahead of the 02 machine.
Yeah, he said he's out there driving his heart out, trying to earn that lap back the hard way. If he was to get a quick caution, put himself back onto the lead lap, he's one of the few guys there that were caught there pitting through on a green flag cycle, and the yellow flag coming out smack in the middle there. And you know what more hard luck you can get there when you have a good race car. You get trapped a lap down just by victim of circumstance. Will Martin Karch get that yellow? That may save his night there, Todd. He's on the tail end of the lead lap now in that 9th position. But it's Blake McCandless in the 02. He's got a 0.3 of a second lead there, about 6 car lengths to the 18 of Robert Balcom. And that 18, Todd, he is on a rail. He has certainly closed that gap, and we may have a race for the lead as they hit turn 3.
Yeah, we may have a race for the lead here momentarily, about a car length and a half separating McCandless and Balcom, and that's what Martin Karch needs right now. he needs these guys to start duking it out, battling it for that top spot so they can't run him down as quick here and try to put him down a lap. He would be in position of that lucky dog, though, if indeed the yellow flag came out, as we got about 40 laps around the Richmond International Raceway still left to go, as McCandless still your current leader. Balcom about a car length and a half still behind that O2 machine. They've had some pretty good runs here this evening, so we're going to have to see what's going to happen and going to unfold here with those two guys here later on in the going. Gary Piccolo running in third. Fourth is Jesse Klein, Isaac Johnson, Ken Hansen, Jason Skraki is in the 7th position there in that number 70 machine. Looking back, we're going to look back here, as you said, the 57 of Jesse Klein, as Rich is whispering in my ear. Jesse Klein now up to that 3rd spot, around the 22 of Gary Piccolo. Piccolo back to 4th.
Yeah, put that 22 back to 4th. As you said, Jesse Klein is on the move in that number 57. He's got 2 seconds between him and the race leader, Blake McCandless, now with 122 laps up on the board. So a little less than 40 laps here left remaining in the Salute the Heroes 160. Now the question is here, Todd, is Jesse going to do the smart thing, maybe ride his tires, or is he going to try to drive down and pass these guys? Because, you know, these guys up front, they certainly got some good laps, but do these guys run the risk of maybe running off their tires, running the speeds they are at the front of the field? I think we're answering our own question there, because the 92 Martin Karch, he drove the wheels off of that thing, and he's fallen now back to the clutches of our race leaders.
Yeah, he was hoping for that quick yellow, as now he's falling back into the clutches of the O2 of Blake McCandless. McCandless pretty quick out there on the speedway, but he wasn't running the wheels off it like the 92 of Martin Karch was. And Karch now falling back into the clutches, like you said, Phil. And McCandless is going to look for a way around him. He might not pressure him too much, because he knows Karch is trying to stay on that lead lap and try to get his lap back the hard way, maybe hoping for a quick yellow, but McCandless can't wait too long, as he's got the number 18 of Robert Balcom breathing right down his neck, and if he makes one mistake, Balcom's able to capitalize and get around both of them. So we're going to have to see what's going to happen here, as we are on lap 126 of 160 here at the Richmond International Raceway.
We pay attention to this race for the race lead, maybe the race to stay on the lead lap. Martin may have to give up that inside lane to our race leader, Blake McCandless. They're going to be side by side, 2 turns over 3 and 4. Looks like Martin is going to fall that 1 lap down. He certainly gave it a valiant effort, still hoping to maybe get the benefactor of a lucky dog if he were to catch a yellow here, being that first car 1 lap down. With our race leaders, Todd, Blake McCandless, Robert Barkham, they're clear of lap traffic as they hit turn 3.
Yeah, definitely clear of lap traffic now. Now they're going to be able to pull away from that number 92 of Martin Karch. The 57 of Jesse Klein still running in that solid 3rd position. He is in the midst of a pretty decent battle with the 22 of Gary Piccolo. Also the 72 of Isaac Johnson right there. So these guys all within the car length and a half of each other. Isaac Johnson really closing the gap there on the 22 of Gary Piccolo. Not going to be able to do anything that time by.
No, not going to do anything that time by at all. Watching those 3 guys racing for that 3rd spot, Jesse Klein, Gary Piccolo, Isaac Johnson. And right behind him having a tremendous run here in the 6th spot, the 109 of Ken Hansen. And Ken has had a tremendous season here in 2016. Ken coming in tonight, 4th in the overall point standings, 36 markers behind Derek Justice, trailing this evening. Only 10 points out of that runner-up spot to Ryan Johnson. And if Ken can put a good finish here, and Ryan being out here so early, Ken Hansen could maybe, just maybe, take over that 2nd spot in the standings tonight. But Ken, he's winless so far here in 2016 in 22 starts, 4 top 5 finishes, 15 top 10s, and he's having a great run there, Todd, currently in the 6th spot. But a great race now up for 3rd, the 22 of Gary Piccolo. He found room around Jesse Klein. That's going to bring the 72 of Isaac Johnson around. Not only Klein, he may look for 3rd with Piccolo in turn 3.
Oh, now Gary Piccolo is on the outside looking in right now. He's able to close the door on the 72 there momentarily. Here comes Isaac Johnson back down to the bottom side, almost making contact there through the corner. He does make contact, and Klein and Piccolo around.
Yeah, racing tooth and nail for the 3rd spot, and that black cloud again over the 22 of Gary Piccolo. Contact between him and Isaac Johnson, and tremendous hit there for Jesse Klein in the 57. Some damage to that thing as well. That's going to put us under yellow flag now for the 5th time tonight. Those guys, Todd, racing really, really hard for that 3rd spot, and it's just unfortunate for those guys. Maybe, just maybe, could have Isaac maybe granted Gary a little more room there, because, you know, they were racing hard there. You know, we're all racers out here. We all want to dig and get all we can at all times, but do you think maybe that was too soon there with those race leaders out, or you know, what do you think about Todd?
I'm not sure what's going to happen, but it's not one of those things. It's not one of them things that are going to happen. It's just I couldn't see through that trailer, that hauler there. I think the cameraman was a little bit drunk over there in that corner as I was trying to watch it. I know the initial contact happened there into the middle of the corner, but I'm not sure what happened. Tough break for Gary Piccolo. But I'm going to throw it down to Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton, who is ready down there to show us what happened out there at Richmond.
Yeah, quite interesting. We're going to keep our eyes on Gary, Johnson, and Klein. Tough battle for all three guys. We're going to go ahead and play this at full speed for half a lap. Let these guys go at it again one more time. And they are tooth and nail, door handle to door handle. Everybody's wiggling. Everybody's jiving. We're going to go ahead and slow it down right here. As they dive down into the corner, a little bit of contact right there, or just past there. Right there, they made a little bit of contact. Everything's good. Taps him again. That's going to send Gary down. Johnson tried to come up to help him save it. That didn't work. Klein also in the mix. That didn't work. Gary's tough out into the wall. Let's move this forward to see if we can't see what's going on with Klein as well. Klein is coming to a stop finally after jammed up against the wall himself. All kinds of paint missing on the passenger side of his car. So Klein and the 22 of Gary all jacked up in this one. Tough break for both of these guys, but that was definitely some heads up door handle fighting out on the track, guys. Back up to you.
Well, that certainly changes things there, Todd. Those guys are just racing hard and heavy for the third position, and unfortunately Isaac and Gary and, I'm sure Jesse Klein, he had a hard hit there in the 57. Those guys get a little bit of damage as well, and it's just a product of the racing in Richmond. It's tough racing. These guys all trying to battle for a win. Blake McCandless, Robert Bauckham, those guys driving off the distance there. I'm sure it certainly changes perspective there behind the wheel, Todd, if you're racing for third, but they certainly put on a good race.
Yeah, definitely those guys were putting on a good race there as we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with Phil. He's going to work to try to get that sorted out. And the 92 of Martin Karch is going to be the benefactor of that yellow flag. He's going to get that lucky dog in that number 92 machine, so that's going to put him back into the fray. But I'm looking up and down, and we're looking at Gary Piccolo's car now, and I'm not sure if Rich has that on the screen, but if you're looking at Gary Piccolo's car, he has no hood. The back end's bent up real bad. On the 22 gear. Yeah, the front end is squashed in. That's what we call a sub-compact car there. And that's one of those compact cars out there on the speedway. Gary's going to try to give that a run here. Maybe have a little bit better luck there with a compact car than he would a full-size car here this evening. But it's a tough break for Gary Piccolo there. And it's just a matter of what happened there. Hard racing here at Richmond, and it's one of those products.
Well, and as Gary has said, if the black cloud of bad luck can follow anybody here in 2016, it has hit nobody harder than that 22 of Gary Piccolo. I mean, he's had a solid year, 9th in the point standings, but as we look, he's a good 50 points beyond that last guy looking in there in the scramble as we were to start tonight. Martin Karch currently holds that last spot with 322 points. Gary Piccolo with 270 points, as we documented. 72 position on the racetrack. That may be a lot to make up here through these last 5 races. So Gary is hoping that one of those 3 guys ahead of him may score the win. That may get him to a locked-in spot. Or if Gary in these last couple of weeks can maybe steal a victory here. So much here left to see here in these next couple of weeks in the Premier Cup Series. We'll have it all updated here on DRTV. The van, Todd, is in. Green flag back in the air once again.
That green flag back in the air. We were double file there because we had a few lap down cars out there on the speedway. These guys battling it out. We're going to have to see what's going to happen on the speedway. Blake McCandless right now is your current race leader aboard that number 02 machine, the 18 of Robert Bauckham, running in that second spot. Third is the 72 of Isaac Johnson. Fourth is I believe the 109 of Ken Hansen. He's one of those guys that's in on points. He would like to see a win here this evening. In that 109 machine. The 70 of Jason Skraki, he's up inside the top 5. What a great race there. The 70 into 5th.
Yeah, the 70 of Skraki, as you said, he's having a great run on the 5th spot, but the guy on the move here, Todd, he got that lucky dog when that caution came out. The 92 of Martin Karch, he is side by side with the 57 of Jesse Klein. Those guys racing for the 6th position. That 92 is on the move. Move him up to 5th, or move up to 6th rather. Now he's going to set his sights to 5th on Jason Skaraki. Almost contact made there, 20 laps to go. Does the 92 Todd have enough time to get back forward?
That's going to be tough as Blake McCandless now a half a second, almost 0.60 ahead of him. And now it looks like the number 92 of Karch trying to get around the 70 of J-Rock. Jason Skaraki. Skaraki now going up there, but McCandless trying to run away and hide here. He don't care. He's going to use up his tires as much as he can and try to get as much of a lead out there as he can. Right now you're looking at Martin Karch. Martin Karch 3.749 seconds behind McCandless. McCandless trying to run away and hide and try to get off right off into that sunset in that O2 machine, trying to pull away from Balcom and Isaac Johnson.
Yeah, Isaac Johnson is right there in that 3rd position in the number 72. Can he chase down that fast 2? Blake McCandless, the O2, the 18 of Robert Balcom. It is a half second. Robert able to cut that lead down just under a half second now last time around. 143 laps up on the board, 16 laps remaining at the line. It's been a fantastic race here. We've seen it paced by Derek Justice through most of the first half. Derek expiring an engine about 30 laps ago, put him behind the wall, and now a great race for the race lead between Blake McCandless, Robert Balcom. They are 1-2. Blake looks like Todd maybe start driving away, but does Robert have enough time to catch him here now with less than 15 laps remaining?
I don't know. Robert Balcom starting to reel him in. Balcom pretty quick here this evening. Right now it's 0.564. Now it's down to 0.536. So Robert Balcom reeled him in, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time. 15 laps to go here at the Richmond International Raceway. And it's going to be heated, and it's going to be hot and contested as we're looking up and down the field. And Martin Karch, I was watching him, Phil, in that number 92 machine, and he's really trying to drive the wheels off of that. It's just not happening for the number 92 right now. Is it looks like he is maybe have spent up some of his tires at that high side hustler in that number 92.
Yeah, he's been all he can trying to move that thing forward. I'm sure he wouldn't mind a late caution, maybe get a fresh set of goodies on that, see if he can't march forward and pass some more of these guys. Martin has raced his way up to that 6th spot. Looks like now he may be falling a little bit, maybe getting them tires a little hot. Jesse Klein is able to make the way around him, so looks like Martin, he made it a valiant effort. Looks like Todd may have used his tires up just a little too much.
Yeah, I think so. The number 92, that's tough for him that he used up his tires. He's one of those guys trying to look for a win, trying to make it a little bit easier on himself as he's sitting on the bubble seat of those, make his way in with the points there in that number 92 machine. So a win would help him out a great deal right now as he's 6 in points, and it's tough. It's going to be tough to see what's going to happen here, Phil.
But you know, one guy out there throwing caution to the wind is our race leader, the O2 of Blake McCandless. He comes in tonight buried deep in the standings. He's only started 7 races out of 26 coming in tonight. 31st in the point standings, 1 top 5, 3 top 10 finishes. Can Blake McCandless pull off the upset here tonight? He's got a total of 98 points on the season. And 20th in the standings right now, Kelly Horner at 187. That's about 99 or 89 points rather. I don't know if Blake can run down 89 points here through the next 5 races. You know, the way they do the scoring here in TDR in the Premier Cup Series, it is 1 point per position. It is strength of schedule, so we had 17 drivers take the green flag. It'll be 17 points to tonight's race winner. Think, Todd, if Blake McCandless, if he can score the upset and score those 17 points with 4 races remaining, do you think he may have enough time to maybe run down and maybe race his way eligible, scramble eligible if he could get, you know, he pulls off this win here tonight?
Anything's possible. All depends on the strength of the field, as you said. Right to now, tonight, 17 cars, but 28 could show up next week, or 30 could show up next week. You're just uncertain of how many cars are going to show up here in the DRTV Premier Cup Series. A lot of eligible drivers can show up here all every week. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to play out. It's there. The possibility's there. He could do it, but you got to hope that the other drivers don't show up.
And you got to think, Todd, we still have 5 more races here live on DRTV in 2016. Those will be the last 5 races on the schedule. So we will not be on the air when they come to the scramble for the first race at Kansas, but the balance of the schedule will be live week after week here on DRTV. So these guys over the next month, a lot of racing left to do. Something else can change, and you want to be a part of this Premier Cup Series. TDR Racing is where you get it at. TDR-racing.net. Everybody come be a part of the Premier Cup Series. all the great tracks, some safer barrier project, a $20 entry fee here for the rest of the season, open to all drivers at any time. If you'd like to come in and get involved, contact the guys at TDR, or even contact us at drlnetwork.com. We certainly know how to get you pointed in that direction. As too here, Todd. There's now less than 5 laps remaining in the Salute to Heroes 160. It is Blake McCandless, the 0-2. He's been able to pull that thing out to about a 7/10 of a second lead over Robert Baucom, and he may be driving away here as they hit turn number 1.
Yeah, it looks like the 0-2 of Blake McCandless is having some issues, and I'm not sure what's going to happen here. He's got 156 laps at 160 complete, so we got 3 laps left, and right now Blake having a little bit of issues in that 0-2 machine. Hopefully he can hold on, and I'm not sure what's going to happen there. He blinked there across the start-finish line, and that's one of those things that could hurt him. It looks like it scored him, so hopefully he gets that under control. There's not that many laps left, and it'd be tough to see Blake lose that way.
Yeah, it'll be 3 laps remaining at the line. They're going to put 158 up on the board of 160. The Salute to Heroes 160 here at the Richmond International Raceway. It is Blake McCandless, the 0-2, with the current race lead. Robert Baucom in the 18 right there in his tire tracks. You know, I'm sure we can see here on DRTV, Blake having a little bit of what we call connection issue. Little blinky on and off. Can Blake maybe keep it steady here? He's 2 laps away, Todd, as they hit turn 1.
Yeah, definitely 2 laps away. He's a half a second ahead of the number 18 of Robert Baucom, continuing to blink here around the Richmond International Raceway. That's in closing. It's one of these firsts here on DRTV, Phil. I don't think we've had a first, as you were saying here in my ear. Can he stay connected here to the server?
I know we've had incidents like that before, Todd, but I'm not so sure it was for the race win, as white flag is in the air 3/4 a mile away. Can Blake McCandless do it? He's at the exit of turn 2. It looks nice and solid as they hit turn number 3. He's got about 8 car lengths on the 18 of Robert Baucom off of turn number 4. Checkered flag in the air. It's going to be Blake McCandless. He's going to win the Salute to Heroes 160.
Yeah, Blake McCandless going to win. Robert Baucom going to finish up second. Third is Isaac Johnson. Fourth is Ken Hansen. Fifth is the 57 of Jesse Klein. Sixth is the high side hustler is the 92. 7th, the 70 of Jason Skraki. J-Rock having a good run inside the top 10 in 7th. 8th is the 43 of Bobby Farrell. Gary Piccolo is 9th. 10th is 112 of Chris Hart of Felix. 11th, the 028 of Monte Keller. 12th, the 210 of Ed Stancliffe. Out of this event, the 31 of Derek Justice Piston disconnected Tom Salvain, and the number 2 is the aliens abducted him and never brought him back here to the Richmond International Raceway. They wanted Tom Salvain, and that's weird. At the 103 of Carson Crins, 15th, 16th of 59 of Ryan Johnson, and the Flying Fossil, the number 69 of Keith Patton, the ageless one, finishes up in that 17th position. And what a great race here this evening. Those are all unofficial standings, as the admins have to go to work here after these events are over, and they go back through and make sure that they review all the replays and everything, all the incidents that happen out on the track. So unofficial standings that are going on as Blake McCandless burning them down in that 0-2 machine, slamming his car into that wall here at the Richmond International Raceway.
That is certainly one very, very happy driver there from North Carolina, Blake McCandless, the winner of a 2016 Salute to Heroes 160 at the Richmond International Raceway. His first win of the season here in the Premier Cup Series through 26 races. We said Blake coming in deep in the standings tonight, and only his 8th start, picking up his first win. Robert Baucom having a great run coming home on that 2nd spot. And another guy with a tremendous run here tonight, a 2-time winner on the season, the 72 of Isaac Johnson coming home 3rd. And Isaac is Phil from DRTV, buddy. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations, man. You're going to bring that home unofficially in that 3rd spot. Tell us about that race. You guys had a tremendous battle for that 3rd position there about 20 laps ago.
Yeah, that was a hell of a race. I had a hell of a time. That was a good setup. I thought my night was over whenever my game lagged for like 2 seconds going into 3, and I about lost it. That's how I got all that rear end damage and everything. I slapped the wall, but other than that, it was just a normal Richmond night.
Well, as you said, it was certainly exciting out there. It made for great pictures for us here tonight. You said the setup was spot on. The racing was really good out there. You know, just how much better were those 2 guys in front of you, Blake and Robert? You know, and of course Derek. He had a fast machine, but is how far is standing out those two guys on those fresh tires. It seemed like they were able to drive away and not fall off, opposite to what you guys, you did, Gary did, Jesse did. You guys had really good short run cars, but seemed to fall off a lot more on this front two.
Yeah, I couldn't really ever figure out how to keep the tires on it. So I kind of just tried to run as hard as I can for as long as I can and hoped it shook out all right, which it ended up doing that because I got a third place finish. So.
Well, Isaac, as you said, a third place finish. I'm sure it's something you're really, really happy with. A two-time winner this season. You're in a good spot right now. If we were to beat a Kansas here in about a month, you would be locked into that path to Premier Scramble. Are we going to see you there as part of that championship event there when we get down to Kansas?
You'll see me there as long as I don't have a dirt track race.
Well, that's good to hear, buddy. We hope to see you out there. And if not, we wish you well on the dirt tracks there. But once again, buddy, congratulations on a third place run. I want to give you the microphone one more time. Give a shout out to your friends, your family, your sponsors. The floor is all yours, bud.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to Sean Reap for painting this really nice looking Wrangler 72 for me. It's a Earnhardt tribute car. I really like it. I'm also going to give a shout out to John the dog Palmer because I know he's watching. So it's nice to see you, dog.
All right. Well, we salute Dog as well as we pay homage to all our heroes tonight, those who have served. And, of course, John the Dog Palmer, a active member of the Premier Cup Series. We wish Dog well. Hope to see him again real soon. But, Isaac, buddy, once again, congratulations on a tremendous third-place run, and we'll catch you again here real soon.
All right. Thank you, Phil. And thank you guys for putting on these great broadcasts that you do. And thanks to TDR for putting on a good show every Saturday night.
Well, we certainly appreciate that. That's our third-place finisher here tonight. Isaac Johnson in the number 72 had a great run. Another guy, Todd, who also had a tremendous run was the 18 of Robert Baucom. Came up one spot short there, Todd, but I believe you've caught up with that driver of that 18.
Yeah, indeed, I have caught up with the driver of the Apple Collision Center, number 18, Robert Baucom. Robert, coming home second here tonight. A great race here at the Richmond International Raceway. Anything else you could have thrown at that 02 of Blake to try to get around him, or was that just what you had there?
Just on a long run, I'd have been all right. I ran down all of them pretty easy earlier on a long run, so I had it pretty much set up for a long run. If I could have been out in front of him, I think I'd been fine. Even though the long run, I kind of let it was kind of be easy around a lap car, and he jumped in there, but still had a good run. I just need that long run. We'd have been good at because I know that first time we had a long run, I pretty much ran, I think, 3 or 4 of them down and passed them and pulled away from them pretty easy. So just needed a few more laps.
Well, we were talking earlier in the event, and you were running in second, and of course, Derek Justice was dominating the event early on in the going, and we were talking about what kind of painfulness it is seeing a car drive off like he was here this evening early on in the going, and I said, well, it's just one of those things where you have to drive the track, and hopefully he's burning his tires off and not paying attention to him driving off. What was going through your mind when he was that strong that early?
Oh, it wouldn't bother me none. He was shifting, and I'm not gonna come out here and shift on a short track. Want to shift, I'll go to a road course. So, but I wasn't gonna shift. That's just part of it. If he just pulled away, he just pulled away. I mean, I've raced a lot in my years, whether it's a game or not. It's just not realistic when you get to shifting at Richmond on short tracks. So I just wasn't gonna do it. So. If that's where I'd ended up, that's where I'd ended up. I feared tires might fall off with him shifting like that on a longer run, but that's about all I could do with him.
Yeah, it looks like well he did have some engine damage there later on in the event, so that may have not paid off for the 31 of Derek Justice. But Robert, I'm going to give you the microphone. The floor is all yours. Thank whoever we'd like to thank here tonight. Who was watching you out there?
I want to give a shout out to my guys at Apple Collision Center, the owner Willie Harris, and then my companion works side by side with me, Jess Barker. They cheer me on, so that's pretty cool. Knowing that the sponsors out there watching, and then I got a house full tonight. I got my wife and my daughter Caitlin, and then her cousin Paul Joe's over here, and then my third daughter, I'll call her Alexa. They're all over here, so they're just cheering me on. So that's pretty cool. But regardless of whether the race or not, we're doing this for a better reason. That's for the soldiers that have been out there and put their life on the line for us. So I mean, who cares about who won, whatever. When that's the main reason we're here. You know, thank them because I mean, none of us would be able to do it if any of this if it wasn't for them. So that means a lot. And then of course you guys, man, y'all put on a great place to race over here. As far as I know, y'all don't get paid nothing, and I mean, hands down, best league I've ever run in. So I appreciate you guys putting that on for us.
Oh, thanks a lot, Robert, for all your kind words here, and we appreciate you coming and joining us driving here and being a part of the DRTV broadcast. Again, thank you. Great run here tonight, second place finish. But I'm going to throw it down to Mr. TV Time Rich Patton, who is caught up with our race winner, the driver of the 02 of Blake McCandless.
Yeah, I made my way down here to Victory Lane here at Richmond, and Blake, one heck of a race, man. Did you expect it to finish how it finished?
Certainly not. It was definitely a surprise to see Derek go down with some engine troubles. Sometimes racing's like that, but it just happened to fall in our favor. I've had a lot of bad luck scenes in this series, and I'm just glad I was finally able to put one entire race together and be able to make it work out. But I also like to shout out Robert. It was good racing him with a few laps to go on that restart.
Yeah, I hear that. It looked like, you know, besides Justice running away with it earlier, you had a very strong car out there, and you were going to be the guy to beat if you got up there. Seemed like you could pretty much go through the field if you needed to, but once you got up front, you were pretty strong, and everybody else kind of struggled to catch up with you. Just congratulations on the great win. This was a great event tonight with the Salute to Heroes 160, and congratulations again. I'm going to give the mic to you. The floor is all yours, buddy. Congratulate who got you here. And again, congratulations on the win. That's spectacular.
Yeah, I'd like to, I guess, thank the O2 boys. I would like to play a little bit of conservative strategy, so I guess I was glad that for that last run I was able to make it work there. But I'd like to thank you guys. You guys put a lot of effort into this event, and I know you guys do a lot of hard work to put on these great broadcasts. So first I'd like to give a shout out to you guys and all the great work that you do. Blazing Pedals for kind of hosting me the last several years going through sim racing. Civation Extend, who I wasn't able to carry on the car tonight. And again, to all the service men and women in our country, police, EMT, military, you just mean so much to us, and especially a hard time in our nation right now. You seem a little underappreciated at times. And specifically, I'd like to shout out my twin who's in Kings Bay, Georgia right now, serving with the United States Navy. So just thank you all the men and women who keep us safe and allow us to come here on a Saturday night and have a good time.
All right, well, there you have it. Today's race winner, Blake McCandless in the 02. Blake, we're going to let you get back to your friends and family and your crew and do some celebrating and enjoy this win, buddy. It was one heck of a victory. Guys, back up to you in the booth.
All right. Well, I don't know what more we can say. These guys were certainly a great race here tonight, Todd. And as all these guys said, we just got to talk to. We're here for a better reason tonight, saluting all our heroes out there. And once again, here in 2016, the Salute the Heroes race here at Richmond, it certainly paid off the billing. And hats off to all these guys. They put one tremendous race on this evening.
Yeah, definitely hats off to everybody that raced here this evening. Hats off to TDR and their admin staff. They do a great job here week in and week out hosting the DRTV Premier Cup Series. And it's just great to be a part of this, Phil. It's been a great season so far, and I'm just waiting for the scramble. That's going to be really, really interesting, and that's coming soon.
Well, all the point standings will be updated here in the next couple days or so. TDR-racing.net to peeking at all the stuff here in the Premier Cup Series. As Todd said, 4 races remain before that path to Premier Scramble. We're not going to see any of those races between now and then, so only one way to get out of the action. Check the folks out at TDR Racing. Be a part of this great Premier Cup Series here through the better part of 2016. 5 more broadcasts here left to go. But the next one up for us here, we make the trip next Sunday on September the 18th to our friends at ECT Sim Racing. Been a while since we've talked to Pete, TJ, and all those guys, and they have a tremendous race coming up. It's called the Memorial 500, paying tribute to former ECT members Lynn Smoke White and Lynn Voiles, just passed away here recently. The guys at ECT doing this race in the honor of all those gentlemen there. Sunday night, September the 18th, airtime for DRTV, 6 p.m. start time next Sunday night, and we'll be here live flag-to-flag coverage of all those guys at ECT. So until next week, we see you back on the airwaves for Too Tall Todd Stanton, Mr. TV Time, Rich Patton. A great job as always in the booth. We'd like to thank all you guys out there in YouTube land for watching us tonight here on this special edition of DRTV live on the DRL Network. And to all our heroes out there, we say a big thank you and good night.